And welcome to a special edition of This Is Your Life. I'm on my way to surprise one of Australia's most loved actors, Meagher, known to many as Alf Stewart. As Alf, Ray has been here in the world-famous Summer Bay for 34 years, ever since Home and Away's debut. And he's touched the life of everyone who's ever been part of the show. Right now, he's filming a scene, and he has no idea that we're coming.
Where are you off to now?
I'm going home.
Oh, okay. I'll join you.
Did you see Marilyn yesterday?
Hello, excuse me. Sorry.
Hi, Mel. How are you?
Ray, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Everyone I've spoken to said nobody deserves this accolade more than you. You've had a huge impact on TV, on film, on stage. Meagher, this is your life.
You are kidding.
You okay?
Yeah. Hate to think what you've got in there, but I guess we'll find out.
Tonight, in a very special television event, some of our biggest stars pay tribute to a truly remarkable Australian. With heartwarming reunions, exclusive insights, and surprises nobody saw coming. This is your life, Meagher. What an amazing night we have in store to celebrate an incredible performer. Please welcome the man of the moment, Meagher. You okay?
Pretty overwhelming.
To take a moment and put everything in perspective, you were born in Roma, and that was a pretty tiny town in Queensland at the time with a population of just a few thousand people. And now both you and your most famous character, from Home and Away, of course, Alf, are recognised all around the world. From humble beginnings in Summer Bay to a phenomenon across the globe.
Guest is an Australian acting institution.
You're kind of the heart of Summer Bay.
Meagher, aka Alf Stewart from Home and Away, you're very welcome to Cork.
After more than 7,000 episodes and over 34 years,
You flaming galah.
Alf Stewart is more than a character.
G'day. G'day.
Stone the flaming crows, look who it is.
He's more than a fan favourite.
Number one.
He's a cultural icon. Here in Australia.
Exactly. There you go, Alf.
And all around the world.
Hi, Alf. It's Sarah from Manchester.
We love you, Alf.
Hi, Al.
You're an absolute legend.
Al Stewart, we love you.
Flamin' galah.
Freaking awesome.
Stone the flaming crows, Meagher.
We love you, Alf.
No character in Australian television history is loved like Alf Stewart. And no actor is loved like Meagher.
Oh, that's a pretty tough start, Mel. Yeah, absolutely amazing. You forget all those things, and I hope I can remember a few of them tonight.
Well, to start the avalanche of accolades for Ray tonight, here is a mate that he used to work with on Home and Away, and he's gone on to do a thing or two since.
Meagher, godfather of Australian television, Australian icon, a flaming legend, my hero. Mate, what can I say? I remember very vividly the first time I walked onto a home and away set, the first time I met you, and I was teeming with excitement and nerves, and mostly about meeting you, the man, the myth, the legend. And then, boom, the moment arrived. I remember the doors busting open, and there you were down the end of the hallway, silhouetted by the sun, bathed in glorious light. There were 3, 4, maybe 5 white doves flapping around your head. There could have been eagles, I'll never know for sure. And I thought, this is it, the moment's arrived. So I began my journey, my walk towards you. We locked eyes, we got closer. I took a big, deep breath, and I thought, he's probably not a hugger. I'm gonna go in for a good, firm handshake. I lifted my hand and dived off into the costume department because I had lost my nerve, mate. I was a mess. But sure enough, you came up to me and you said, Chris, wonderful to meet you. You're going to do great here. And you were kind and genuine and supportive, and you've remained that through my entire career. I want to say thank you so much, buddy. I love you. You're a dear friend, and congratulations.
When we were putting this night together, we were talking to some of your nearest and your dearest, but there was one particular person that we knew had to sit next to you on the couch.
Ray, over the 20 years on set, you became a true friend. You will always be Mr. Stewart to me.
Please welcome Kate Ritchie.
How are you?
Thank you.
Let's talk about your journey, because you were just 8 when you started playing Sally. You literally grew up on Home and Away. So let's take a look at Alf and Sally over the years.
Now, where did you live when you were a little boy?
Summer Bay. Next question.
What year did you get your high school certificate?
Oh, gee, that was a long time ago, Sal. I don't exactly remember.
What is it?
Oh, just a few ideas I'm going to introduce into the club if I get re-elected. Mainly aimed at bringing young kids back into the club.
Let's just go back inside.
No.
Which part of no don't you understand, sport? The N or the O?
I'm going to miss you the most, Mr. Stewart.
Do us a favour, will you? Call me Alf, just this once.
Always be Mr. Stewart to me, Alf.
He didn't play your dad, but he was very much a father figure, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Ray is really so much of what I learned as a person, but also as a performer. You kind of gave me such a wonderful foundation. And for both of us, we've played those characters for such a long time. It is inevitable that there is so much of us within them. So when I watch that footage, maybe I can't connect to the 8-year-old child and the Raymar who had hair, but I can connect to Sally Fletcher and Mr. Stewart standing on the beach not that many years ago, because I don't really see the characters. I actually see two friends saying goodbye to each other. And the week I left, he did pay a little visit to me in my dressing room, and he said that he's watched me grow from a girl into a woman, and he's really proud of me, and that's really important to me. So I'm glad I've made you proud.
And that still stands.
Thank you. And you know everything about me. You've also just taught me about life. And he's advised me on my financials and my love life. And you've connected to everything I have ever done, and things that I have continued to do, even though I left the shores of Summer Bay a long time ago. You mean a lot to me, Ray. You know that.
Well, this probably might get you too, because let's rewind for a second and take a look at the original opening credits for the show. It was January 1988.
Hold me in your arms, don't let me go. I want to stay forever, home and away.
say hello to Roger Oakley, Vanessa Downing, Sharon Hodgson, and Alex Pack.
Rog, how are you, mate? Good to see you.
Oh my gosh, how long since you've all seen each other?
Oh, forever.
Yeah,
It seems like forever.
Long time.
Roger, you and Vanessa were on very, very early with Ray.
I remember seeing him at the first read-through, sitting at the table, and there was this solid Aussie bloke sitting there, and I thought, well, yes, she'll be a good rock foundation for this show, and no idea it would actually take off.
Roger, I think it's probably pretty fair to say that when they announced that the pilot was going to series, most of us thought, oh, that's good, we'll probably get 3 months' work out of this.
Yes,
a bit of luck.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Vanessa, was there something special about Ray, do you think, from the get-go?
He had quite a distinguished cinema career, but I just remember Ray being so relaxed and professional, and I thought, oh, this is a real actor I'm working opposite.
Alex, what did you think? Because you'd done a bit of acting, so did you come on set with any, I don't know, any intimidation of Ray at all, or what did you think?
Not intimidation, but I was very aware, like Roger and Vanessa, that Ray had an established career in cinema and films that I had watched and loved. And so I was very impressed and a bit starstruck of Ray, although he was always so nice and accommodating and cracking jokes. But I can remember watching you work, Ray, in those early days and seeing you in a scene go from being quite calm and relaxed to, you know, venting fury upon, you know, another character. And then in 3 scenes' time, seeing you produce this vulnerability, and which I was so impressed by. And I guess if I recall the scenes that I did with you, most of them involved you literally shirt fronting me and trying to pick me off the couch because I had my hands on your daughter.
By your own admission, you deserved every bit of it, Alex.
Yes. Sharon, what's your favourite memory of working with Ray?
Oh my, well look, you know, I do have a special memory of Ray and I in the back of a beautiful vintage car with Ray. He was giving me away for my wedding to Ben, so I always remember that.
Roger, Vanessa, Sharon, Alex, thank you. Thanks for being here on such a special night.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to see you.
Great to see you.
And there is one more cast member from the early days who very much wanted to be here but wasn't able to travel. He played Donald Fisher. He is the wonderful Norman Coburn.
Hello, Ray. We first met at the Home and Away auditions. And then we shared a dressing room for 16 years, the early days of Home and Away. They were happy days, I think, for everybody. There were a lot of kids, there were a lot of noise and a lot of laughs.
Wow!
I miss those days, and you. You were a good friend and a bloody good actor. I guess what I'm trying to say is, thank you for the journey, and I hope you have a great night tonight. You deserve it.
That was lovely to hear from him.
Oh, he's a fantastic guy and a lovely actor, and we were like, I don't know, the odd couple, I suppose. We did share a dressing room for 16 years, and I was the messy one and he was the tidy one.
Well, I know that you shared the screen with this next performer for 13 years. It was a professional relationship that became a lifelong off-screen friendship.
I've always loved working with you, Ray, and I don't blame you for the death of my character, even if Alf did kind of cause my heart attack.
Please welcome one of your on-screen wives, Ailsa, the gorgeous Judy Nunn.
Hello, darling. Thank you for coming.
God, I love you.
Now, if I had $1 for every person that's asked if I can ask this question, did Alf really cause Elsa's heart attack?
Oh, God, no, I blame the writers. Oh, it was bloody awful. They didn't do another take on it, but it was meant to be even more dramatic than that.
But I think, you know, dying on the job is, well, you know, it's not a bad epitaph, Jude.
We were like a married couple.
Absolutely.
Ray and I, we really were, which is just as well, because counting the pilot, 13 years would be a heck of a long time to be playing husband and wife with somebody he couldn't stand, wouldn't
Absolutely.
it? In the very early days, Ray was actually inventing the elf speak. The writers did not write, oh, you Stone the Flaming Crows and Stupid Galar and all these elfisms. Ray brought those in, and he never dined out on that, in due respect to the writers. But Ray actually, in many ways, co-wrote Elf. That's how important I think he is, and always was, to that role. And I think he is now actually the history and the topography of Summer Bay, as much as Palm Beach is, where it's shot. He's part of the whole premise.
Jude, that's really lovely of you, but I think going back to the original question, I think Home and Away now is so strong, it's cast-proof almost.
Oh,
you
I
can
agree.
cast anybody anywhere, and as long as they don't make an unholy mess of it, it'll survive.
I sort of said that. I didn't want to offend him.
No, I think you should have gone full bore.
Please thank Judy Knight.
Thank you, darling. God love you.
Love you, Meagher.
Yeah, you too.
We're still ahead, more surprises for the incredible Ray Meagher.
Still ahead, Ray's impact on the big screen.
Mama, you and Walla get that body off the test.
Plus, Home and Away's favourite stars of all time pay tribute.
This remarkable relationship with this incredible man.
But next, the secret sporting career and how Ray got his unlikely big break. This is Your Life, Ray Meagher.
Welcome back to This Is Your Life as we celebrate Ray Meagher. And for a little laid-back town, I tell you what, Summer Bay has been an incredible launchpad for global success. Ryan Quanton, for example. This is a very special poetic tribute for you.
You've seen all sorts come through Summer Bay. For me, it was Vinny, the B-man, father of VJ. In the scrum, you were the prop, I was the hooker. You taught me that substance is sweeter than sugar, and that to fall on your ass isn't a bad thing. In acting, your flaws and fallacies are king. I have nothing but love for you, dear man. Forever your student and your #1 fan. Forever in awe of all that you are. This is your life, Ray Meagher.
Did you know that he had those hidden talents?
No, but he was always a character. As Vinny on Home and Away, he'd always, I often used to throw in a line at the end of a scene, just some smart aleck line that was meant to get a laugh from the crew. And after Ryan had been there for about 3 or 4 days, he was topping my line. And you thought, oh, geez, this kid's got something. I'm delighted that he's had success.
It's now time to meet another star from the same era, someone else who you had a profound influence on.
Ray, you always kept a lookout for the young cast members. You even helped me with my homework.
She has come a very long way from her debut in 1998, so say hello to Beck Hewitt. Oh my gosh, tell us a little bit about your story, because you joined the show in its 10th year. So you would have been quite familiar with Ray's work and who he was. Was he as you imagined?
Well, yes, I grew up watching Home and Away, so I knew Ray as Alf. And to me, Alf was someone that was kind and that anyone could go to for advice. And when I met Ray, he's kind and always offered great advice. And I don't ever remember you messing up your lines.
Oh, no, you should have hung around at the right times.
And then off camera, am I right that he also helped you with your homework?
Yes, so I was 15 when I was on the show and I was doing my schoolwork alongside while filming, and I had to read the novel Breaker Morant and do an assignment. We're reading so many scripts and I found it hard to find the time to read the book. I knew Ray was in the film, so I just thought I would ask him for a little bit of help, which he kindly did. He didn't just help, I think he did quite a lot.
When you said I helped you with your homework, I thought you were going to talk about physics or chemistry or something. You would have failed everything, Beck.
Big thank you, everyone, please, to Beck Hewitt.
Good on you, darling. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
I'm so happy to be here.
Well, Ray, there is one more Home and Away co-star who couldn't make it tonight but wanted to celebrate the year that you spent performing together.
Hi Ray, it's Danny Minogue here. I missed the fun that we had on set with Home and Away. I got to really be that feisty Emma Jackson.
Alf, this is Emma. Emma, this is my husband, Alf.
G'day. My goodness, you took a lot of eye rolls from me. The milkshake throwing, the tantrums, the fact that my character always had to slam the door when she walked in or out of a scene, which made all the set shake. You were doing such a great job, and thank you for the most beautiful time working with you.
Oh, the hairstyles as well. Now, before you got started on stage and screen, you were a leader on the sporting field as well. You've got quite the sporting history, which I think many people, I'm sure, might be a little bit surprised by.
I wasn't much good in the classroom at school, so I had to fill in the time in other ways. So at school, I swam rather badly. Cricket, athletics, I did okay in those three. But I loved all that rugby stuff. I really did. I played for Wests in Brisbane for about 10 years, roughly, and played first grade for Queensland in about 1968 or 9. But yeah, the rugby and athletics went fairly well.
It did go fairly well. Can you tell us how close you came to wearing the Wallabies jersey?
There was a Wallabies trial for the trip to South Africa in 69. I got picked in a possibles probables team, and the Wallaby coach that year, Des Connor, was sitting in the stand with the other Australian selector, Joe French. And at one stage, they're both watching this game, watching the possibles probables, and the guy who was captain of my club team is sitting right behind them. And he said, "I saw your chance to play for the Wallabies, come and go." He said, "You scored a try," and the coach, Des Connor, nudged Joe French and said, "Well, what about him, you know?" And Joe French just turned to Des Connor and went, all gone in the nod of the shake of the head. My mate promised me that he didn't burst out laughing at the time.
Now to one of your old rugby mates. He is the most successful Wallabies captain in history, so he knows what he's talking about.
Hi Ray, it's John Eales here. We actually have a lot in common. We both went to the same school, Marist College Ashgrove. We both love rugby. We both played for the Queensland Reds. Ray, I'll always remember the night more than 20 years ago now when I was captain of the Reds and you came and presented us with our jerseys before we played the Waratahs. It's always the biggest game in a Queensland Reds season, and you did us a favour that night with how passionate, how energetic, how authentic, and how, let's just say, colourful your speech was that evening. I'm sure it partly had something to do with getting us over the line that night. Ray, we've also got something else in common, the Queensland Sudoku team. You're our patron, you presented us with our blazers, and, well, we haven't quite matched up to the success of the Queensland Reds in the Sudoku jerseys yet, but that will come. All the best, mate.
Well, I've got another sporting blast from your past. So please welcome Wallabies legend, Nick Farr-Jones. Got him. Hey, tell us how you two met.
Just to set the scene for the audience and for the viewers, I was a commentator for the '99 World Cup. Ray was on tour with a bunch of my friends. It's a few days before the final of the Rugby World Cup in Cardiff. In Wales, they absolutely adore their rugby, and so someone like myself who's been a captain of a World Cup winning team, you're reasonably well known. And there was a little town called Chepstow, and we went to this little local Welsh bar. I saw a couple of young ladies come in, and they looked really excited, and they had pens and texters, and you saw they had papers, and I thought, oh, here we go. They'd like an autograph, and so I hop up. They went straight past me, and all of a sudden the word got around Chepstow that Alf was in town and in the bar, and within literally 30 minutes the place was full of 15, 16-year-olds and a lot of mothers too, and I had no idea about the attraction of Home and Away and how it was sold overseas and how it boosted our economy back home. To see that in this little town called Chepstow in Wales, to see how people loved him there and how they flocked to that hotel when they heard he was in town was just phenomenal.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Pleasure.
Everyone, Nick Farr-Jones.
Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
So, how are we going? Wallabies glory was not meant to be. So how did you decide then what to do next?
I was doing a bit of amateur acting at the time. There's a theatre in Brisbane called 12th Night Theatre. They just built a new building, whole new theatre, and they were going to open it with a pantomime called The Rose and the Ring. And a guy called Alex Pope, who was a lifetime friend, we went to primary boarding school together, he and a guy called Paul O'Donnell all decided that they'd go along and audition and all got parts. As the thing got closer to opening, sure enough, somebody was sick or out or something. And these guys came home and said, "You're in, come on, we're going to do this thing." And I said, "Oh, you're righto." So we went along and I was in as the rear end of a pantomime horse.
Yeah, well, guess what? We tracked down that mate of yours. Please welcome Alex Pope.
Good Lord.
Can you share some stories? Pretend he's not here for a moment. Dish the dough, what was he like?
He's Megs, by the way, not Ray.
Well, it was the comic strip character, Ginger Meggs, of course.
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah,
with
yeah.
red hair got called Meggs, I think, didn't they?
And he wasn't very bright either. We were a bit worried about Megs because we all were pursuing our careers, and he wasn't much of an academic. I'd failed junior French 3 years in a row, so academia was out for him. Sorry to bring this up.
No, go right ahead. Yeah.
As a salesman, he was very good, trying to sell us things, but unfortunately he was selling life insurance, and we'd all bought about 3 lots of this life insurance.
It'll be handy soon, eh?
And as a rugby player, you've heard how wonderful he said he was. So when he got the acting bug and did very well, went to Sydney and even got some dialogue. And so we looked at Megs and thought, the guy's a pretty decent sort of fella. It couldn't have gone to a better bloke, and we were so proud in what you achieved. Good on you, Megs.
Thanks, mate.
Alex, thanks so much for coming on and sharing some stories and insights. So there are a lot more surprising twists to the tale of Ray Meagher to come, but first, here is an old friend to talk about a small act of kindness that you might not even remember, but he is still paying forward all these years later.
Ray, Julie McMahon here. I'm not sure if you remember, but when I was a fledgling young actor struggling to find my way on the set of Home and Away, you had pulled me aside one day and offered your support. Well, that gesture has paid its way forward over many, many years in a multitude of ways. So thank you from all of us who have reaped the rewards of your kindness. Congratulations, Ray, on your career and, of course, this very special occasion.
Well, coming up, Ray, the star of the big screen. That is next on This Is Your Life.
Up next, life before Alf Stewart.
It just ate 3 people.
And still ahead, Ray's emotional music tribute from a living legend.
Welcome back to This Is Your Life, where we are celebrating the remarkable Ray Meagher. So let's skip ahead now to 1986. So you landed work in one of Australia's most iconic shows of all time, and you had the chance to play the villain, which is always fun.
Tonight, Ray, is all about celebrating your life. So I promise I'm not here to kill you.
That is your co-star on Prisoner. Please welcome Paula Duncan. I wanted to start with Prisoner Cell Block H. So set the scene for me and the roles that you were both playing.
Ray played Craven, who is the freakiest guard in Prisoner and renowned to be absolutely terrifying, and he was so stern-faced with these damn glasses all the time, and I played a schizophrenic. It wasn't my fault. I didn't know what I was doing or saying or anything, and I was paranoid and just so terrified because he kept threatening to kill my baby, Zoe. In the end, I think I might have got him, actually.
Do you know what? We have that final appearance as Craven.
You disappoint me, Wilkinson.
Don't you come near me or I swear I'll...
You'll what? Tell your friends you lagged on them?
I don't appreciate people giving me a hard time, Wilkinson, and that's just what you've done.
I told you about the sabotage. I left on the only real friends that I've got.
You didn't tell me about the alarm.
Don't you come any closer!
Got him.
Oh, that's not very nice.
Oh my gosh! Was it tough trying to play those stern, dark characters?
They're a gift to play roles like that. I just think it's such great fun, and it was fantastic. Yeah.
I think the thing is too, Prisoner was a wonderful series to give people the opportunity to play characters like that. Playing against Ray in that sort of terrifying situation. It was exhilarating, wasn't it? It was exhilarating, and we did have a lot of laughter behind the scenes.
Thank you very much for coming on, Paula. We really appreciate it.
My
nice to see you
pleasure.
tonight.
Thanks, Paula.
Good on you, darling. Lovely to see you.
So, Ray, as an actor in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't long before you started popping up in movies. You appeared in an astonishing 30 films in 2 decades. And that period was a defining era for Australian film, which would prove to be hugely influential around the world.
I'm just as pissed off as you are.
Right. Say what you bloody think. Right. Chen and Jimmy Blacksmith is a masterpiece. One of the top 5 Australian movies ever made.
Hammer, you and Waller get that body off the tent.
You had a whole wealth of wonderful actors that really helped create a film movement.
Do you consider that the prisoner was given a fair trial?
No, sir. Not in the state Lieutenant Morant was in. He was, well, like a madman, sir.
Sing your holy bandicoot.
I can't remember him.
Are you gonna sing or what?
Well, here we are.
And the judges decided to award a penguin to mail order bride.
I thank Stephen Wallace for resisting the temptation to cast Robert Redford.
Who'd want to come here for a holiday when there's a chance of being eaten by crocodiles? Now, you give me one good reason why crocodiles should be protected.
It's sacred.
Sacred? It just ate 3 people.
You joked about Robert Redford there in your acceptance speech, but winning the Penguin Award must have been a really big moment.
It was a big deal at that time, and it was the first, probably the only lead role I've ever had in a film. And I thank Stephen Wallace for that to this day. And it was a wonderful, wonderful script.
Well, one of the most iconic films that you played a really important role in was Breaker Morant. And you shared the screen with the likes of Edward Woodward, with Brian Brown, and...
Ray, I'll always remember the time you got us chased out of town by a bunch of angry locals.
Say hello to legendary actor, musician and singer John Waters. John, hi. It's so good to have you here. And I have to start then. Tell me the story about the run-in with the locals.
Ray and I found ourselves on location for Breaker Morant in the lovely town of Burra in South Australia. And we also found ourselves in the Burra Hotel most nights, as you do. This night there seemed to be a bit of a competition going. There was a pool competition. It was the Burra Hotel doubles pool competition. We said, put a name down. And the first game, I suddenly realised what I had hitched up with here with it. Ray just went sort of cleared the whole table. And I started getting a bit worried because locals don't really like to be invaded by out-of-town people, especially actors. I could hear this sort of mutterings of, they're the actors from that movie, aren't they? What do they think they're doing? Coming in here, playing our pool table. I said, Ray, look, I think, you know, in the interest of diplomacy, perhaps we ought to maybe just throw this one. So, of course, Ray says, throw it? Got to be bloody joking, haven't you? I didn't hang around to collect the meat tray. I was out of there.
Did you have a sense, a feeling that Breaker Morant would go on to become the classic that it did?
I sort of did, I think. You know, I think we knew we were on something big, didn't we?
Look, I didn't. I mean, I loved doing it, and I thought this is, you know, this is going to be fantastic. And even when I saw the first screening, I sort of thought, I don't know if this is a bit long. Is it a bit too courtroomish? Is it going to... Anyway, I was so wrong. It wasn't funny.
It was a big movie, a big expensive budget by Australian standards, and it was great to be involved.
Please thank Mr. Daniels.
Thanks very much.
So by the time you did Breaker Morant, you'd landed roles in some of the biggest films in Australian cinema. But the role of a lifetime was just around the corner. When did you first hear about Home and Away?
My agent said they want to see you for a pilot for a new soap. And I thought, well, you know, I'm not very good at knocking back work if I'm not busy, so I did the pilot. Then they said it's going to go to series, and they wanted everybody to sign for 2 years. And I sort of thought, 2 years in a soap opera, no, that's a lifetime, you know, you don't want to be tied to one thing for 2 years. And he said, would you do 6 months? I said, oh, yeah, righto, we'll have a crack at 6 months. And then during that 6 months, you know, you'd go into the studio each day and go home at night, to your own home, to your own bed, stay in the same town. Having spent the previous nearly 20 years in Western Australia, South Australia, Victoria and all of that, it was pretty seductive to be able to stay in your own town. And so at the end of that 6 months, he said, what about another 6 months? I said, yeah, righto, that sounds all right. And then after that, it was, what about 2 years? What about 3 years, you know?
What about 34 years?
Exactly.
Stick around, more secrets about the origins of Alf Stewart right after the break.
Next, the personal heartbreak that shaped Ray.
Somebody came home and said that Mum wasn't coming home.
And the very special family reunion when This Is Your Life returns.
Down the flamin' crows! What have you done to me coffin?
Stop! Flamin' crows! Truth, that's a bit right.
You flamin' drongo! Flamin' mongrel!
You flamin' galah.
Pull the other one that plays Jingle Bells.
Long-haired, greeny, left-wing yahoo!
If I didn't have a dicky ticker, I'd dong you.
When I get my hands on him, I'll wring his flamin' neck.
Starting the flamin' crows, I'll be right there.
Welcome back to This Is Your Life as we celebrate the remarkable Ray Meagher. And Judy Nunn mentioned a little bit earlier that, Ray, you contribute a lot of yourself to Alf and the Alfisms. Is it true that they were actually never in the original script?
Oh, look, some were, but a lot of them weren't. And the ones that I introduced weren't Ray Meagher originals. They were usually stolen from somebody I'd bumped into along the way. And when I was about 10, 11 maybe, there was a stock and station agent. Dick Backhouse was this guy's name, and he was a real character. I've never seen anybody fit the expression "stone the flamin' crows" into one sentence so often, whether it was warranted or not. He's, stone the flamin' crows, mate, those weathers you got for sale, you're absolutely ridiculous. Stone the flamin' crows, a blind man wouldn't buy them. Stone the flamin' crows. And he'd get all this stuff going. And as a kid, I just think, gee, Mr. Backhouse is funny.
I'd like to talk a little bit more about your life, because when you were just a boy of 8, your mum passed away.
Yeah.
And the death of a parent is massive for anyone, no matter what age, but particularly as a young boy. What impact did that have on you?
Oh, look, I don't know. I remember where I was at the time, and Mum was going into hospital for a routine hysterectomy. She was having the operation in Brisbane, and I was staying with an aunt of mine at Mount Gravatt. And somebody came home and said that Mum wasn't coming home. And Colin, my eldest brother, had some years earlier married the most wonderful woman in the world, Pat Deschen, and they became almost like parental figures to me. You know, Cole died a few years ago, unfortunately, but Pat's still with us, and she's like a mum still, you know, she's just wonderful.
Please welcome this gorgeous mother figure. Please welcome Pat, your sister-in-law. What an amazing role you played in a young Ray's life.
Well, it actually wasn't amazing. It was very, very easy.
He's very easy to love, and he's always been a joy to us.
But some pretty hard years. It's not often that a young married couple suddenly becomes sort of almost surrogate parents.
No, he was very conscientious, worked hard, didn't ask for anything at all, didn't expect anything, and we just adored him. Still do, I might add.
Pat used to get a bit worried. There was an airstrip in front of the house at Corowa.
Yes.
And when I was half serious about rugby, I used to train up and down the airstrip, and there were tyres that you could put a hurricane lantern in, so light planes could land there at night. And I'd go up and down this thing and kick a ball up and chase it, come back and try and kick with the other foot and all of that sort of stuff. And Pat would say, you know, are you going to give that away in a minute? You know, I think
he always had a rugby ball wherever he went.
And that bit of claypan, that fabulous jumping shot of that little pony.
And the 44-gallon drum.
Yeah, I always expected the horses to be able to jump higher than they ever could. You know, you'd build a higher fence and a higher fence.
That's a trait.
Pat, how do you describe your part in Ray's life now?
Now, I couldn't do without him. No, he's very special to me and looks after me. And I'm so lucky with Ray and Julie. I adore them. Yes, I'm really, really lucky. I like.
So are we.
It's so lovely to meet you.
Thank you for looking after Ray.
You've looked after him way more than we have, but we love him.
He's a problem.
He's also a treasure. Thank you, Pat, very much for coming on tonight.
Well done. You're doing good.
Plenty more surprises and untold secrets. Ray Meagher, This Is Your Life.
Up next, Ray's part in the surprise hit that took the world by storm.
It was like Justin Bieber had walked on stage.
Plus, still ahead, never-before-seen photos from Ray's secret wedding.
Welcome back. So let me paint a picture for you. Ray, it's 1993. Home and Away is the highest rating serial in the UK. It's averaging 14 million viewers every episode, which is phenomenal. You could rest on your laurels. You could probably actually retire. But instead, you decide to spend your Christmas holidays how?
Doing pantomime all over the UK, I suppose. Yeah, from Belfast in the north of Ireland to Southampton in the south of the UK, and all points, not all points, but a lot of points in between, like Wimbledon, Woking and Surrey.
It's massive. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Christmas panto is a huge family tradition in England. It's fairy tales and folklore retold on stage with music and regular sprinkling of celebs like Priscilla Presley, David Hasselhoff.
The Fonz.
Oh, the Fonz?
Yeah.
Wow. Sir Ian McKellen?
Yeah.
Yep, and of course Ray Meagher. So what made you throw your hat into that particular ring?
Well, they asked, and I thought, oh, pantomime in England, that sounds amazing, you know. Anyway, we signed up sight unseen, and the first one I did was at a place called Barking in East London, and the town was appropriately named. They were barking mad.
But you've been great. Over the years, you've worn a ringmaster's suit in Cinderella, a luxurious black robe in Dick Whittington. You played the evil Ebenezer in Aladdin and donned a beautiful head of hair in Peter Pan. We've got a message for you from two of your fellow panto stars. They're household names in the UK, as are you, Sue Pollard and Bobby Davro.
Good Lord.
Ray, darling, I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to join you on your very special evening. There we were on the first day of rehearsal for the pantomime Jack and the Beanstalk at the Birmingham Hippodrome. And then we said, what do you like to eat? And you said, oh, I like a curry. You didn't even look at the menu. Have you got any lamb? You like lamb so much that you've never had anything else ever since I've known you for 28 years. God bless you, my darling friend. Ta.
Hi, Ray. Yes, it's me, Bobby Davro, your old panto pal from across the pond. Congratulations on your accolade, getting This Is Your Life, and you've had a long one. We don't actually know how old you really are, but I know that your passport's written in Latin. And in 1996, we were down in Chichester doing a pantomime. During the production, my wife gave me my second daughter, Tierney. You were the first person other than ourselves to hold the baby in his arms. And guess what? You can't do it now because she's all grown up. And here she is.
Hi, Ray. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And we send our love to you, Ray. You're a fantastic actor and a fantastic friend.
They're gorgeous. Well, from the silly to the sublime and back again. In 2007, you stepped into an altogether different stage role, joining the most successful Australian musical of all time. As Bob the Mechanic in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, you brought a whole new audience to theatres in a show that changed the hearts and minds of people right around the world.
Ray, you weren't a singer or a dancer before you did Priscilla, but you threw yourself into the part fearlessly with the motto, "I'll never know unless I give it a go."
Say hello to actor, singer, Tony Award nominee and Priscilla star, the brilliant Tony Sheldon, joined by a couple of fabulous friends.
Hi, guys. Thank you, Vilma. Thank you.
Fantastic.
This is Vilma. This is Jojo. Your legacy is Alf Stewart. For me, it's Pig Tat for the rest of my life. It's going to follow me around the world.
Tony, tell us, because Priscilla wasn't the first time you actually shared the stage with Ray, was it?
No, we first worked together in 1978. But then we sort of parted ways for about 30 years. Yep. And then Priscilla rocked around. And of course, I hadn't really been paying attention to how famous Ray had been getting over those years. And Ray's character, Bob, used to make his entrance at the end of Act 1. And we were all dancing to I Will Survive. And Ray'd come on and they made his first line, you know, "Stone the Flamin' Crows." Well, this roar went up from the audience that I'd never heard in the 5 years that I had been doing this show around the world. It was like Justin Bieber had walked on stage. We all went, what are they all doing?
Well, similar age, similar talent.
Exactly, similar look, same outfit.
What else did Ray bring by playing that role?
The fact that the three central characters were two drag queens and a trans woman, it was really revolutionary at the time. That they were the heroes of the show. And a lot of people weren't really prepared for that. They came expecting to see, you know, a lot of colour and movement, but they didn't realise, I think, the depths that the show went to. And the character of Bob is probably the one person who's not hostile to these three people. And he has a very fond memory of Bernadette, the character that I played, from seeing her at Les Girls when he was a young bloke. But the fact that we had Ray playing it and an actor who everybody knew and loved and trusted, they went with it. It was like he opened the door for them to understand these people and gave them permission to love Bernadette as much as everybody else did.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Tony Sheldon, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. But don't you go anywhere and don't you go anywhere. More of This Is Your Life after this.
Up next, the story behind Ray's secret wedding. Plus, we hear from the newest stars of Home and Away.
And I'm thinking, oh, this is my second day. I've just been told off by Alf Stewart.
Welcome back to This Is Your Life as we chronicle the amazing story of Ray Meagher. So we're going to go now to 2010 and you hit the pinnacle of Australian television when you took home the Gold Logie. Was that a professional highlight?
Oh, yeah, look, if people don't enjoy our show, we haven't got a job, and they're the people we've got to please, and they're the people who vote for these things. And the one thing that I remember more than anything about it is that Ada Nicodemu was sitting one side of me and Emily Simons was the other. And as Bert announced my name as winning it, they both went, and they must have forgotten they had wine glasses full in their hands. So the whole lot went straight down my front. When I got up, I was still sort of brushing the wet and the whatever off the dinner set, and I thought, this is a good look, you know, they'll be quite convinced I'm incontinent now. So, anyway, and to receive it from somebody like Bert Newton was really special.
Those moments mean so much more when you have people to share them with. So we would like to welcome two of the most special people that you share your life with, your wife, Jilly, and stepdaughter, Rebecca. Ray, I think you need to let everybody in on the secret that despite winning the Gold Logie, what was the real highlight of 2010?
Well, I knew there'd be some trick questions. Of course, it was marrying Gillian. I love you, darling. Yeah, that was the big one. It was a you know, I mean, from a selfish point of view, it was a really big year. A Gold Logie, a musical in the West End, and the prize.
And
Jilly,
a beautiful
so it was
bride.
great. Yeah.
You don't talk about your private life a lot. Is that a conscious decision that you've made? Because we've never, you know, obviously never seen those photos and...
Didn't have any guests at the wedding. And I did catering and flowers. So I had a vase of flowers, I had a cheese platter, and that was it. And we went out for dinner.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, so that was our wedding.
Oh my gosh, but what a beautiful day.
It was a great day, yeah.
There's many brides that are envious right now. Keep it simple, you know, absolutely. But one of the things, Jilly, I'd love to ask you about, we've heard about Ray's work ethic and everyone's talked about how he passes it on to young actors. So when he actually did take time off, it must have been pretty serious.
Yes, well, that was when he had open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happened all very, very quickly. But after 4 weeks, when he got to the end of this thing, he was walking for an hour on his own out there and doing exercise at home, and he was ready to go back to work. And he rang home and away and said, do you think you might be able to write me into a sort of a hospital scene where I can lie on a bed? I mean, he was ready to go back to work.
Yeah.
But he didn't. They wouldn't let him go. But he was a perfect patient.
Thank you, Dale.
Well, you were.
And Rebecca, tell us, what sort of impact has he had on you?
Huge. I mean, you can see there's a photo of him hoisting me up onto his shoulders. That's what he does for everyone. And definitely for me, he's always been there. And there are no particular memories, just a feeling that there was just always someone there.
That's very special. Thank you both very much for joining us. Jilly, Rebecca, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Now, Ray, you have another long-term relationship. Please welcome your on-screen wife, Belinda Giblin.
I'm back.
You both made your TV acting debut on the same episode of the same show, Matlock Police. Let's have a look.
Oh.
Oh, my God.
Why don't you let me give you a hand with that?
Who are you?
I'm an old friend of Jonathan's.
You're lying. My father wouldn't let you on the place.
No need to be frightened, girlie.
It's a far cry from Alf.
Yes, he had a terrible mullet, I have to say.
Well, they're back in, it's okay.
I was a very naive country girl who did a lot of show jumping, and Ray was a shifty, ginger-haired, mullet-wearing...
Horse rustler.
Horse rustler. But he got his comeuppance at the end. He ended up drowned in a horse trough.
Killed by your father.
Killed by my father.
Well, you've played a few roles on Home and Away over the years.
Oh,
it's safe to say that the part of Martha has had the biggest impact on both of your lives. Martha was Al's first wife, who faked her own death, only to return 3 decades later and rekindle the romance, quite successfully, if this clip is anything to go by.
Oh, well, here we go.
Alf, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
And Martha, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? Again, too flaming right I do.
So what was it like playing Alf's TV wife?
It's great fun. I think we have a similar sense of humour, actually.
Yeah, we're both mad.
We're both mad and we're both dry, I think.
Both bushies at heart.
Bushies. I'm a country girl and he's a country boy, so there you go.
Well, there are so many magical moments of your career, Ray, especially in Summer Bay. So here's a gorgeous look from one of the show's promos.
I've always been here, with you through the good, the bad, and the pretty flaming ugly.
My life and all of our lives is far better for having you in it.
You know we belong together, you and I forever and ever.
What if it really is goodbye?
You mean the world to me. It's destroyed.
From the very first moment I saw you, I never felt such emotion. I'm walking on it just to know you were there. Hold me in your arms, don't let me go. I want to stay forever, home and away with you each day.
Best flaming place in the world, if you ask me.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on.
I'm just really appreciative that, you know, you've all come back to the bay.
Closer each day, home and away.
Oh, wow. What a heritage, what a legacy, and it continues today. And we know that the younger cast members on Home and Away look up to you. So here to join us are a couple of the current younger actors, Emily Weir and Ethan Brown. When you joined the show, coming on the show must be quite a surreal experience. Ethan, tell us your story. I believe there's a particular handshake.
Yeah, so, yeah, the handshake. My first experience with Ray, he taught me a very important life lesson, and that's the value of the handshake. So I meet him, and it's all exciting, and I'm, you know, starstruck, and I'm very nervous. So I go up to him like, hey, Mr. Ma, great to meet you finally. And I shake his hand. And he's like, yeah, g'day, mate. Yeah, you're one of those, the new Kiwi blokes. Yeah, All Blacks, greatest rugby team out there. The next day when I meet him again, hey Ray, how are you? Good to see you. Go to shake his hand again. And he puts his hand out and he's like, now hold it right there, mate. You young fellas, I've got a bone to pick with you. You shake hands too often. And it devalues the handshake. So this is what we're gonna do. One at the start of the term, one at the end of the term. That's it. And I'm thinking, oh, this is my second day. I've just been told off by Alf Stewart.
Here we go.
That's gorgeous. And Emily, how about your experiences? Because you've been on the show for 4 years.
I was about 10 years old when I started watching the show. So for me, Ray is like this familiar figure in my life. So when I first was walking down the halls of Channel 7, I saw him coming and I was like, keep it together. But he's really cool because to me, he's so familiar, but he doesn't, you know me from a bar of soap. So I went up and I was like, hello, Ray, I'm Emily. And he said, are you a Queenslander? And I said, I am. And he said, we're going to get along just fine. Ray is this kind of paternal lifeblood of the show. And he is really everything everyone says about him. He really is.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Ethan, very much.
Thank you so much.
More love for Ray Ma after the break.
Up next, Home and Away's favourite stars reveal the incredible impact Ray has had on their lives.
I remember when I was pregnant, you're the first person I told.
Plus, still ahead, a heartwarming tribute from a living legend.
Welcome back. Well, Ray, I think that if I said there was one thing that has become most obvious tonight for all of us is that so many of your workmates are actually genuine mates in real life. So let's say hello to a few more friends who are also some of our Summer Bay favourite locals. Ada Nicodemu, Emily Simons and James Stewart. James, I want to start with you then. Tell me about the impact, the influence that this wonderful gentleman has had on your life. Because I know that you were thrown pretty much in the deep end, weren't you, when you started on Home and Away?
Yes, literally. So I was a little bit nervous when I joined Home and Away. Most of all, I was nervous to work with Ray. My first week was spent entirely with Ray, and our first 2 days, we were stuck on a boat together with a very small crew. I was fixing the engine, he was fishing, and then he had a little accident and I had to help out. And at the end of the week, I get a text from our executive producer, and it's a screenshot of a text Ray sent her, and it just said, "Whoever hired this bloke did good." I've been there 6 years.
Aww.
So thanks for the endorsement, mate.
Ada, you, I know, we were incredibly close, and you've actually shared a lot of your secrets, a lot of your life with Ray. He's clearly someone that you trust.
I remember when I was pregnant, you're the first person I told. He's been through a lot with me, and I never know how to think about things, but then I ask Ray, and then I go, oh, right, that's how I feel about that. He's just a really, really lovely, lovely man, and he cares about my family and asks about my family all the time, and we adore you. We adore you. You know we adore you. We love you.
Well, the feeling's quite mutual.
Emily, surely there's got to be some dirt. I mean, tell us, is he always so amazingly supportive?
No, he is. Unfortunately, I have no dirt. When I used to work with Ray many years ago in the when you had that shop, the local shop, and I used to be, oh, Mr. Stewart, you know, and I perhaps didn't know my lines very well that day. I used to put little cheat notes all around, you know, like put a line in the Mars bars and come over here and put that in the cash register. And he used to go around and nick all my cheat sheets. And then he'd be going, and thinking that was hilariously funny, that I'd be going. So yeah, he's a delight and a very dear friend to all of us.
Since the dirt's being dished, I could say Emily and I go back a long way. We've had a very long friendship. In fact, I've been at all your weddings.
Well, I can't say the same about yours, seeing as you had that secret one. But yes, yes, he has. He has. We've been through births, deaths and marriages.
All of that.
Yes. Well, we're going to hear from another former colleague on why he admires you.
G'day, Ray. Congrats on the milestone. I do remember my very first day on set. It's pretty frazzled turning up. 5 in the morning, it was pretty dark, and I whipped my little Suzuki Swift into the first spot I saw, and I almost clipped this very fancy-looking silver Mercedes as I did. And I got out, and I was pretty frantic, and I looked around. I thought, thank God no one had seen that, because it was still dark. But then I looked down, and there was bloody Alf Stewart, and I thought, crikey. Day one, and I've almost cleaned up an Australian icon. You're the perfect example of that type of Australian that works very hard, takes their job very seriously without taking themselves too seriously, and I think that's why you're always great to be on set with, that's why you've had an extraordinary career, and that's why you're here tonight and you've got so many people celebrating what you've done and what you do. Congratulations, Ray, you deserve it. It's a wonderful career, and well done. Keep going.
Well, I've now got a workmate who is more than a friend. She's practically family. Please welcome your on-screen daughter, Georgie Parker.
You're bloody late.
I tried to get it in the appointment. Oh my God.
Nice to see you.
I want to know about the nicknames. You have a nickname for one another.
Well, we have a few that we can talk about.
Oh, OK.
Well, he calls himself YOF, which is your other father, and I'm generally Parker.
Parker. It gets her attention.
It gets my attention.
Yeah.
You've worked together. You've worked with Ray for 12 years?
Yeah, 12, 13 years. Yeah, I was very lucky the day that I walked on the set, and the first scene I think I did was in the Summer Bay house, and I walked in and I see Ray, and I don't think I'd really thought about it thoroughly, what it was going to feel like to look at Ray and say, "Hi, Dad."
Well, because I'm way too young.
Your waist is so young, and I thought, is this right? I don't know. But yeah, no, it really resonated with me then, just what I, bought into, which is this remarkable relationship with this, with this incredible man. I think we have very similar work ethics. We like to. He went like this.
You're on time occasionally.
I am on time occasionally. But no, we like to get in there, we know our lines, we like to do it, and we like to go home. And I'm very fortunate that I get to spend, such enormous hours away from my home with a friend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Big round of applause, please, for Georgia Parker.
Thank you, Parker. Thank you.
Ray, I've now got a voice that is very familiar to you, but maybe not necessarily to our audience. It's someone who's played a very important role on the Home and Away set.
I reckon you can do with a nice lamb cutlet.
Carol Toohey was the original food stylist on Home and Away. She used to cook all the meals that you see on screen. So, yeah, please welcome her, the beautiful Carol Toohey.
I brought you a snack.
Oh, look at that. Crumbed lamb cutlets. Oh, fantastic.
Come and sit down, Carol.
Look at you.
I'm really great.
Good on you.
Now, I just want to say I've always liked to cook for you because you're such an easy person to cook for. And my first meal a long time ago, I asked you, what would you like? And you said, lamb cutlets. So over the years, I must have made about 1,000 fresh crumbed lamb cutlets. And so it's been wonderful.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Carol. After our break, we will bring it all home with a spectacular music performance, especially for Ray. Had a huge night here on This Is Your Life, celebrating this legend right here. The wonderful, the iconic Ray Meagher. But it wouldn't be complete without an unbelievable music tribute. So I understand this is your all-time favourite musician, the founding and past member of the Little River Band, Glenn Shorrock. And tonight, just for Ray, he is performing Help Is On Its Way, featuring Mahalia Barnes.
Slow down. Looks like inside the
from somewhere deep inside the inner man.
Please give it up for Glenn Shorrock and the Haley Barn. Oh my gosh, did you enjoy it? Did we get it right?
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate it. It was wonderful.
You have just left a mark on every single person that you've come across at all stages in your life, as I'm sure that everybody here will attest, not only those who've told their stories tonight, but so many of our Home and Away cast members and crew members, past and present, other lifelong friends who wanted to be here on the show and tell you how much that you mean to them. And just like you support them, they've been here supporting you. So many in the audience, thank you very much. A big round of applause. Don't you think that there's simply not enough opportunities in life for us to tell the people who mean the most to us how incredible they are? I'm sure we all would agree. So, dearest Ray, for everything, for all of your special friends, you are loved very dearly by those who've crossed your path. It has truly been a privilege and an honour for me to be here and to say, Ray Ma, this is your life.
Thank you, Mel. Thanks, Jonathan. That was wonderful.
Woo, big round of applause for beautiful Ray. I'm Melissa Doyle. Until next time, good night.